I understand it's competitive business that we're in, and everybody this time of year, any time of year, got to get a scoop, got to get some information, got to add to the discourse, got to push the envelope just a little bit farther, got to have something fresh. Connor Hughes reported that sources, the Jets have very real interest in Odell Beckham Jr. Apparently, real interest isn't enough. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers saying it himself on Pat McAfee's show isn't enough. It can't just be real, Chris. It's got to be very real. Now, I don't know that there's a difference. If it's real, it's real. You can't be more real than real. You can't be very real. You're either real or you're not real. Am I wrong?
Well,
so it's very real. All right, fine. I'll stop being an ass now. This really isn't anything new. Of course the Jets have interest in Odell Beckham Jr. 12 teams were at his workout. The question is, are they interested in paying him what he wants, or is he interested in playing for what they want to pay him? That's the issue. It's not whether or not there's interest. It's whether or not there's interest at the dollar value Odell Beckham Jr. has affixed to himself at this point of his career.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, and I think where's his mind at in that department? I'm not shocked to hear that. You know, I think, hey, we heard rumors, and the fact that, you know, OBJ, the Giants were on the radar. I think there's a little bit of a wanting to come back to New York, right? I think there's that. And then I've always heard over the years that Rodgers and Odell Beckham Jr., there's a relationship there. That there is, and that, you know, I know OBJ's always talked to Brady, but you talked about it the other day when he was traded from the Browns to the Rams. The Packers were very much involved, and like you said, they said they couldn't pay him or whatever. They had an excuse, but they made it look like that.
They were just involved enough.
Right.
They were just involved enough to make Aaron Rodgers think they were involved.
Right.
Remember, we talked about it at length.
Yeah.
They duped him.
Yes.
They duped the super genius into thinking they actually wanted Odell Beckham Jr. by making a half-hearted effort to try to sign him.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I do think there's a relationship, and I don't disagree with what you're saying there at all. But, yeah, I think this has been on the radar. But, yeah, does it make sense? What's he asking for? Of course, I think it makes sense as far as on the field. You know, he's been in that offense. Yeah, that $20 million conversation. That's just not going to happen. And you know, again, too, okay, there's going to have to be some other moves made. If they're going to sign him and give him some significant money or even something close to double-digit millions, well, Corey Davis is still on the roster. He's making $10+ million. I would think that means he's got to go in that department. But the other thing I just throw out there, too, you know, I don't know. Is this an ideal spot for Odell Beckham Jr.? I'm not sure about that. I mean, Garrett Wilson's going to be the guy here with the New York Jets. Alan Lazard is going to get balls at 4 years, $44 million, you know? Okay, the Corey Davis is here. Well, that's another guy. But, okay, if Odell Beckham Jr. comes in and takes some of that away, all right, there he is, fighting for, you know, second, third, fourth most balls, Mecole Hardman. I'm not sure this is exactly the perfect spot for him either if I was to advise Odell Beckham Jr., you know, just for himself personally.
I agree with you completely, and Mecole Hardman is going to be looking around saying, what the hell if OBJ shows up? Where do I fit in this picture?
Right.
And where does OBJ even fit on any depth chart at this point? He was second fiddle to Cooper Kupp as it was in L.A., and he was having that great Super Bowl because the Bengals were doing what they could to take Cooper Kupp out of the mix, and they were using Odell Beckham Jr., and as you had heard, and we've discussed many times, he was being showcased in that game. He was the guy. They were taking advantage of Odell Beckham Jr. being open, not being blanketed, and he was performing at a relatively high level. Had a touchdown catch, and it just felt like he was moving toward MVP of the game status until he had that non-contact ACL tear. So I agree with you. There's a history there with Rodgers and OBJ. I also continue to believe that number 20 was put out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the truth, if we ever were able to ascertain it, was that Odell Beckham Jr. mentioned that number directly to Aaron Rodgers, and he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it. And why wouldn't he want it? The idea that he came out and said, $20 million never came out of my mouth, and people say, well, that refutes anyone who reported he wants 20. Pull up the list of the highest paid receivers in the NFL right now. Top 15. they're all making $20 million or more, and Justin Jefferson hasn't been paid yet, for crying out loud.
No, nor Jamar
There
Chase.
are 15 guys out there at or above 20. Yeah, and that's the way the logic collapses on itself. You give Odell Beckham Jr. a list of those 15 guys making $20 million or more, and you ask him, are they all better than you?
Yeah,
and
no.
there's going to be 4, 5, 6 of them where he says, I'm better than them. Okay, ipso facto, he wants $20 million a year. Why wouldn't he want that given what he views his skills and abilities are? This isn't about his skills and abilities. This is about reestablishing himself, showing he's healthy, not tearing the same ACL. Well, it's a different ACL, but it's an ACL in the same knee for a third time. He hasn't played football in a while. It's factors other than what he can be at his best. If he comes in and he plays at his best, this is a steal for whoever gets him.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah.
And for him, I mean, I think if you want to, I mean, look, I agree with you that the Chiefs would, especially without Mecole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster, maybe the Chiefs would be a better destination. But Chiefs, Bills, Jets, those are the three teams he should be looking at. Now, he also has had interest in the Giants. They were one of the three teams that he visited with during that short free agency tour during the season, when I think he was dangling, I'll come help you in the postseason if you give me a big contract, and nobody wanted to give him a big contract, so he's like, screw it, I won't play this season, I'll wait till next year. But, you know, we're nearly 2 weeks into the money flowing, and he's just not going to get what he thought he was going to get. The budgets have been expended. Nobody's sitting back holding enough to pay him $20 million a year, and nobody's going to do it. If anybody was going to do it, they would have done it by now.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody. I mean, you and I know the animal in which NFL front office people are, right? I mean, I know I'm generalizing here a little bit, but we talk about this a lot. Yeah, they're conservative by nature. Their butts are on the line here. They're not just going to throw out $20 million and go, oh, yeah, you tore your ACL 2 out of 3 years, didn't play football last year. We're just going to give you $20 million. It's just not the way it's going to work. So, yes, hopefully there can be a fine line of getting a contract done and, like you talked about, adding incentives to it. Maybe future years you get to this point, we got an option, and now you're getting paid, accordingly to what you want. But that payday is not going to come unless he proves a little bit, or not a little bit, a lot of bit as far as a full season goes, that he could stay healthy. He's north of 30. That gets scary there. And, yeah, I'm with you in that fact of what I said earlier. I don't know if the Jets are the best situation. I mean, you unpack the Kansas City Chiefs and you go, okay, we know Kelsey's option number one. But out of the receivers, even with the guys they got there right now, you can realistically think, well, he could end up being the number one receiver, and Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and everybody kind of play off of him there in Kansas City. So that's why I continue to bring up their name. I think it's why you continue to bring up their name there as well. I think there could be benefits for both there to make that marriage happen, and that one makes more sense to me than the New York Jets, at least from Odell Beckham Jr.'s perspective.
And the reason that no one is willing to go out on a limb, this all comes from a very basic desire to avoid the awkward conversation with the owner when you get cross-examined sitting across the big desk as to why you did the thing you did. He tears an ACL again in the same knee. It's hard to say, didn't see that coming. Hey, boss, ACL tears happen. It's a tough sport. There's a lot of contact or non-contact. You're the one that wants us to play on artificial turf. Hey, this happens. Harder to sell that when a guy has already had 2 ACL tears in the same knee. So you need a GM who is very confident in his position, very safe, to even sign the guy, to give him any million, not just 20, 5 million, any significant payment. You better be damn sure you can withstand the blowback if he does have the worst case scenario, and you better have the owner on board with it. But that's why.
That's where Kansas City makes sense again.
No, right, because they got
their house
all
money.
The house money they can burn.
Exactly right.
No,
right.
Brett Veach isn't going to get in any trouble.
No,
Andy Reid's not going to get in any trouble. Oh, and they don't play on artificial turf for their home games. It could happen in a road game, but yeah, I think that's a reason why the Chiefs make sense. Because for the Jets, I mean, unless it's an ownership move, you are getting toward being a little far out on the limb if you're Joe Douglas when you throw in rolling the dice on Odell Beckham Jr., the same offseason you're rolling the dice on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a lot going on there. It's a huge adjustment to your locker room, And listen, I'm not that I was to say I don't think it could work. I do think it could work. I think these are two guys that are motivated to, prove people wrong and make things. But it's just a lot of parts, moving parts there to put it all together. So yeah, I don't know. That's one I got to see it to believe it. I don't feel like that's really legitimately going to happen. I like the move by the Jets by Mecole Hardman. I think Cleveland getting Elijah Moore makes a lot of sense, and we'll see where this Odell Beckham Jr. conversation goes.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.